So what's going on, guys? This chapter came out a little bit late, and we're gonna jump right into it. We have the name of some of the missing children that were missing in the last chapter. Ruka and Marco are two of the ones that went missing, and after Nun told Asta and Gauss that that some of the kids have gone missing, Asta goes, "Well, maybe they just went to pee," which is pretty funny because you know how Asta's so innocent he can't really think on a level that he would say, whoa, 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 something's wrong with this. He just assumes the innocent thing that, they just went off to do something. But anyway, what happens is Noel gets caught because Noel pops out and says, well, I seen a bunch of kids going up the hill over there. And Ash is like, well, what the hell are you doing here, Noel? um, so basically, Noel gets busted after she can't chase Ada in the shadows anymore, which is kind of good. I was getting pretty tired of that. I was hoping she was just going to come out and join the group eventually anyway. Well, she finally did. And then we get to hear about a lot about this magic control. It's a new type of magic that allows one human being to control another human being, and it's restricted magic for it's restricted to kids, but whose magic level hasn't fully developed yet. And basically, those children are the only ones that are allowed to do it after their magic fully develops, and they are restricted and barred from using that spell again. So we're under the impression that perhaps a kid was doing this. And Gauss looks at the nun. He's like, you're not telling me that Mary is missing, as well. The nun goes, well, I'm afraid so. Mary is missing. So Gauss starts to trip out. He goes, what the fuck is your problem, bitch? You were right there. How did you let her go? And basically, he gets mad. He tries to attack the nun, and Asta jumps in the way. He's like, takes the hit from the nun, and then just downs Gauss, punches him straight down to the ground, and face to the dirt and all. And he goes, um, after he attacks him and puts his face in the dirt, he says, Magic Knights must stay calm. And Gauss, after getting back up, says, you're right. Magic Knights do have to stay calm. So I will calmly kill you. Gauss is pretty funny in that way. Um, but anyway, he starts bitching and asked after that, like, that hurt like hell. Why'd you go off and do that? He goes, well, you were wasting time when we could have been looking for clues. And Gauss stops him and he's like, what's about my sister? We're looking for. Yeah, that's a pretty good idea. So I have this mirror thing. This mirror thing will protect. This mirror thing will protect Mary to a certain extent, and I can also trace her. So let's get on with the killing of you. So I'm gonna kill you. But anyway, the nun jumps in and says, well, I want to come along as well. If anybody's going to rescue my kids, it's going to be me. And Ash is like, well, you're a nun. You're probably not that powerful. That's what he's thinking in his head. He's like, perhaps you should stay here. And then Gauss is like, no, I can attest to her power. As bad as I don't want to say it, she is completely capable of coming along with us. And Asa basically just accepts it right there. And they all get on their broomsticks and go to fly off. And Asta, of course, with no magic power, cannot fly, so he's just hanging on the end of Gauch's broomstick, even though they're not rivals in the sense of a regular rival, but they're rivals in this small arc in a way. And he has to hang on to his arch rival's broomstick. And Noel's like, whoa, 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 I want to come too. And then they go, well, are you sure you want to come along? You want to be hanging from the end of the broomstick like this dude because you can't control your powers either? And Noel's like, well, damn, I'm stuck with this chick, Rebecca, because Rebecca's the one that's actually trying to marry Asta as well as Noel. So basically, Noel has this affection to Asta, maybe not on a marriage level yet, but Rebecca wants to gain Asta's hand in marriage, as we found out in the last chapter. She doesn't just want to be a girlfriend or something along those lines. Sort of like Noelle, because all we know about Noelle is that she likes Asta. We don't know anything further about that, and that she likes him enough to chase him around apparently. Anyhow, we get to find out what happened to the kids. We go to a cave that's off in the distant snowy mountains. Well, it's made snowy. It wasn't originally snowy, and it's not even winter right now, so he pretty much made it snowy. And which also tells how they found out what type of spell they were using. The nun felt it in his hands, in her hands, and was like, "I know this magic. This is the magic to control people." even though it's restricted, they're still using it. We see the boy who cast the magic. He can't be much more than 10 or 12. Well, I was originally thinking he was somewhere between 13 and 16 at first, and then I was like, wait a minute, Aston them are 13 and 15. He looks way young in Aston them. Aston's is like 15, I believe it is. So he must be around 10 to 12, and he's casting the spell, so maybe he hasn't reached the age where he's barred from that spell yet, or he's just casting forbidden magic. One of the two, we're not sure yet. We're not sure the age that you're barred from casting that spell, and I don't think we'll probably ever find out. But anyway, we find out that Mary is safe to an extent because the mirror that she's carrying around with her brothers that protects her from the spell partially, but she was still controlled to the point though where she was walked all the way up the hill with everyone else. And Mary starts talking to. Oh, well, they first notice Mary isn't completely under control. And he's like, "You're being a bad girl. You're not under control of my spell. All children need to be. All my friends need to be under the control of my spell." And she starts talking to him like, "Well, that's not how friends treat friends." And this dude gets mad. He's like, "Why are you treating me so mean? Why are you doing this?" And then smack Mary across the room. And this is gonna piss Gauch off when it comes time. Gauch will fight even harder once he finds this out. Not just that they kidnapped his sister, but they actually dealt physical harm to his sister, which is worse on the level that that's all they've done to her yet. And now if they would have extracted the mana, then that would have probably warranted a death. This would probably still warrant a death from Gauch's point of view, but well, we get to see how hard Gauch is going to go probably in the next couple chapters if they do catch up to the kids before Mary is taken. But basically, after that, the older brother comes out and says, "What are you doing? Don't damage the goods. And why did you bring this riffraff in here? He has no magic power whatsoever. Don't give me extra work. He's trash." And then proceeds to toss the kid down a hill. And the kids roll down the hill all passed out. Like the hill fall dealt a good amount of damage to the kid because the kid's pretty much just laying there like he had just been half beaten to death. After that, we get to find out what they're planning on doing to the kids. They're planning on extracting the mana out of each child and then selling it. Now they're talking about soon beginning the mana extraction so they can be prepared to sell it. And how they're going to get the mana out is a whole nother story. We don't know much about it, whether or not it's a machine or whether or not it's a spell they cast, and what they're going to use to store the mana. Perhaps they'll sell it in some form of a vial or a serum, something in the way of a small object, or maybe a shield or something like that. That way, the person they sell it to can actually use the mana inside of a fight, or maybe they'll just keep it in a big jar so the person can use a huge spell. Maybe they're trying to collect mana in a big pool of something, which it's kind of like what Magnostad did. If you watch Magi, they had a bunch of slaves underground consistently sucking mana from them, powering an entire city that was hella advanced on, and every one of them had magic weapons that were capable of certain things. Maybe they had a magic weapon to produce fire or water, any type of thing that you could use in a day-to-day life. They pretty much had it, and maybe that's what they're trying to do here. Maybe they're developing a magic spell that could attack the Clover Kingdom. That's on a level we have not seen yet. We'll figure that out later. But overall, we got good plot progression, a little bit of character progression with these new characters, and the mangaka decided to, you know what, we're gonna introduce some more characters without telling you their name, and we probably won't figure out their name till close to the end of the arc, just like we did with Raditz again. Hopefully they'll tell the names a little bit sooner this time, but we don't know. It looks like a very short arc, especially if having them catch up with them right now. So this arc could go by really fast. Looks like a mini arc. But overall, I'm going to give this chapter a 7 out of 10, pretty much because that's what most of the Black Clover chapters feel like. They're not, so far there hasn't been anything that just like, hell yeah, let's go in a while. Since, the dungeon invasion, where they had to go, find the treasure that was at the end of the dungeon. That was a pretty badass arc. And the fact that Frigo Leon almost died in the last arc. And those are two pretty good chapters right there. Well, one chapter and one arc that was pretty good, but overall there hasn't been many chapters or arcs that exceeded a 7 out of 10 to me. They don't just get me pumped. They haven't got me pumped like that, and they haven't got me pumped like that a lot. This chapter doesn't do it a lot. A lot of the chapters do. Like that whole arc with the invasion was amazing. I actually love that arc. And then a bit with Fuego Leon almost dying was actually like, whoa, what just happened there? Those are the type of chapters that get out of 10, and this is just a passing chapter, a plot building chapter. That's why I got a 7 out of 10. But that's all, guys. Peace.